afternoon, everybody. Uneducated economist here. The other day we did a video talking about nickel and how the inventories were coming down along with the price. Typically, you wouldn't see that happen. When inventory comes down, prices go up. When inventory goes up, prices come down. But we saw where nickel had gone into a backwardation where current spot price was more than the future price. So you could sell your spot price today and buy a futures contract, not only get your metal back, but also make some money off of it. This is something that typically you wouldn't see. So I've been Googling nickel just to see what news articles come up, and I saw where Indonesia put a ban on exporting of all their nickel ore. Now, Indonesia is like the world's largest producer of nickel, and their major buyer is China. Now, I came across this article that says they kind of backed out on this ban, at least for a short time. It says here, Indonesia is one of the world's top suppliers of nickel ore, will allow the miners to continue to export until the ban takes effect on January 1st, and ordered greater scrutiny on cargoes meant for shipments. So when I was doing a little research on this Indonesia ban, I found where China is like their number one buyer. And so I figured, okay, well, if Indonesia is going to be cutting off China from their nickel ore, China is going to be needing another supplier of nickel. And since China and Russia have been buddying up lately, I just typed in nickel Russia to see what articles came up, and sure enough, I found an article coming up about Norilsk Nickel, which is a mine up there in Russia, whose basic components that they mine for is nickel and palladium. Now, the CEO, Vladimir Potanin, not Vladimir Putin, but Vladimir Potanin, he said something very interesting in this article that I found. He says that they're taking all their palladium and they're going to tokenize it. All right. Now, if you're not familiar with tokenizing, that means that they're going to be selling their palladium using blockchain technology. Very interesting stuff here. So the idea is that if you are a buyer of palladium from this particular mine, what you will do is you're going to be buying tokens, so to speak, that represent the palladium. And when you go to buy the palladium, you cash your tokens in for palladium. And he says in the article that this is going to streamline a lot of things. So, for example, if you were a buyer of palladium and you're going to buy, say, 400 pounds of palladium for whatever industrial purpose you need to buy, and then you realize you didn't really need 400 pounds, you only needed like 325 pounds. In order to, as the way things are set up now, basically you cancel the first contract and you reestablish another contract. Well, if payment has already been made and their process has already started, then you have to refund and all kinds of stuff that takes place from that. Creates a headache. Using blockchain technology, you can buy your 400 pounds of palladium using the tokens, right? So you get the tokens. This represents palladium. You can cash the tokens in for palladium. And then you realize, oh man, I don't need $400 or 400 pounds worth of palladium. I only need the 325. You can sell those tokens off to another buyer, to somebody else who is looking to buy palladium. Or you can just hold on to it till the next time you need palladium. Or you can just hold on to it and say, hey, I'm just going to wait for palladium price to go up and then I'll sell the tokens. It's just like having palladium itself, but you don't have to have the palladium on hand. You can have the tokens which represent the palladium. Anyway, what I found interesting about this is that this nickel mine is the number one producer of nickel. It is a huge producer of this palladium. They are definitely in the know when it comes to mining, and these guys are starting to tokenize their product that they have coming out of that mine. So I'm assuming that palladium is the start, and then nickel will start taking off after that, where they start tokenizing the nickel. Another story that I found interesting is that the People's Bank of China, China's central bank, the People's Bank of China, will certify 11 types of financial technology hardware and software that are widely used for digital payments and blockchain services with a new verification system called the Certification of Fintech Products. So China, their central bank, is encouraging the rest of the country to start getting in and adapting to and adopting blockchain technology. At the same time, Russia has commodities that China wants that are starting to tokenize their commodities. You see the partnerships that are getting built here? It's very interesting stuff. I'll leave links to all this down in the description. Uneducated economist. You guys let me know.